Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, everybody. I got my new, I don't know if we say friends or comrades in arms or friendly enemies or whatever it is. Nocturnus Libertus has agreed to join me this morning for a conversation. How you doing, Nocturnus?
I've had better days.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. So, you still coming to our conference in Detroit?
Yes, I am, for what it looks like. I can only go to 2 parts of it now. Because I don't have that many days off.
Oh, so you coming for Friday or Saturday?
I'm trying to go to... Isn't there 3 days that this is going on?
Well, it's Thursday is a workshop and a press conference. Friday is the main event, and Saturday is the main event. So I expect Thursday to actually be the most interesting day. I expect that if there's going to be crazy protesters, it'll probably be on Thursday, though. But pick any one of those 3 days. If I were to advise you to come one, I'd say come on Friday, because we got some really interesting women there with some stuff to say.
I got Thursday and Friday. I got 2 days that I can do this, but like that, because I can't put that many days off.
You heard that we moved the location to a little town called St. Clair Shores?
Oh, is it still in Detroit?
It is in the Detroit area, but it is a little suburb, which really disappoints me.
Suburbs. I was hoping to do this somewhere in my element.
You know what? I got to tell you honestly, I don't want to insult them, but DPD was not exactly as helpful as they might have been. Let's put it to you.
Oh, you said the Detroit Pigs.
Huh?
The Detroit Pigs.
That's what you want to call them. That's well, you're not going to have to deal with them. Instead, we've got this little town called St. Clair Shores. It's only about 10-15 minutes outside of Detroit. It's not that far out. So you still consider yourself a red femme, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you're a strong proponent of free speech.
Yes.
Is that because ultimately you are an anarchist?
Yes.
Explain what anarchy means to you.
Anarchy is basically freedom and democracy taken seriously. It's the idea that we as human beings are capable of directing the paths of our lives. Something that doesn't seem to gel too well with many of today's people that somehow think that we need a leader who centralized power in order for the world to work. That's the case. And if you think about it, if we as people are not capable enough to control our own lives, how are we capable of electing people or the right people to control our lives for us? To me, it just never makes sense.
Okay. You know, it's funny, within the men's rights movement, I have anarchist friends, which is interesting. Although most of them are attracted to anarcho-capitalism. And I understand you have real issues with anarcho-capitalism. What's your issue with anarcho-capitalism?
That it's pure theft. It's not even, first of all, anarchy and capitalism are completely incompatible. Because for one, capitalism requires centralized power. It requires an imbalance of power, first of all. And then that in itself creates centralized power. First of all, there's going to be 2 groups of people. There's going to be the ruling class, and then there's going to be the class under them. We call it the class of subjugated people. Those are going to be the people who are basically slaves. They're going to be the masses, while there's going to be a select few of people who will have control and influence over the wealth that comes with quote-unquote capitalism. Capitalism is theft. It's bullying, it's subjugation, it's tyranny.
Okay. Is it possible that some of the anarcho-capitalists are working under a different definition of anarcho-capitalism than you are? The ones I know, at least, and I'm not an anarcho-capitalist. I'm just trying to sort the whole anarchy thing out in my head. They say corporations shouldn't exist, and that the capitalism they espouse is free people exchanging goods and services on their own terms. And they call that anarcho-capitalism. Is that really that much in conflict with what you believe in?
it's phrased in a way to make it seem as if it's something that could be productive or something that is possible, but it's really not. It's let me put this in a way where it can be put out on the internet, without inappropriateness. I guess I'm just.
Well, there's where the conflict to me has always come in, and I'm like nothing but a pragmatist, right? And okay, for example, you sent me a real interesting video, which I'm gonna make sure people see, by Assam Mba, an African anarchist, and he's talking about communalism and how you organize communities based on almost an organic leadership structure where everybody gets around and agrees to things. And the big problem I see with it, because it sounds like a wonderful way of living actually, is what happens when you get such strong disagreements that people just say fuck you and leave. Well, actually they can just leave then, right? So that's not so much of a problem. But what happens when somebody with guns and the will to use them says, you're going to give me my way? How does the anarchist of any sort, community, deal with that?
Could you rephrase that? Because I don't exactly understand.
All right. Let's say I've got a group of anarchists in anywhere. Africa, Canada, don't fucking matter, right? And you've organized a collective group with leadership mostly by consensus, and then somebody comes in and says, you have something we want and we're taking it by force whether you like it or not. I mean, isn't that the sort of reason why government structures got created in the first place? That's the trouble I've always had with anarchy. Doesn't somebody with guns or swords or whatever come in and eventually take over shit if you don't have a formalized structure to deal with that?
A formalized structure doesn't necessarily require centralized power or an imbalance of power. It's like militias. Militias aren't government. They're groups of people who've made an agreement and say, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to defend, and this is what we're going to fight for, and then you do that. Now, anarchy is not saying that there's going to be this utopia where everything is peaceful, where everything is perfect. But it will eliminate the majority of the problems that are faced today, because the majority of the problems that are faced today are created by an imbalance of power. And so, with anarchy, when that is removed, eventually these problems will free themselves out with time.
Could take a long time. Could take a long time. Okay, so what about the exchange of goods and services? I mean, okay, let's say I have food that I have made, and you want some of that food. Do we work? Do we have some kind of exchange? What do we do? How do we do that?
Well, first,
I mean, I could just, of course, gift it to you, and that's fine, but...
Yeah, but if you want something in return, you of course could make a personal, contract with this person. Say, hey, I'm going to give you this food for this service or this product, and then that's how that. It's really just a removal of centralized power and imbalance of power. That's basically all it is. It's direct democracy.
And I guess that's the other thing I keep getting to too. If somebody's clever or devious or whatever, they're always going to find a way to accumulate more and use it to hurt other people. I don't know. Maybe I'm just generalizing too much, but...
No, it's good to think about these things because that's how we create solutions before the problems are even.
That's right. So, you all right, man?
I'm gonna type the message or something.
Got a little bit of a smoker's cough going there?
Yeah.
I won't ask what you're smoking. Actually, good news is I hear there's a good chance a lot of communities here in Michigan are going to be legalizing weed soon for personal consumption. And you see this electronic cigarette I make? Because we have it for medical marijuana now. You see this electronic cigarette I use?
That's got cannabis oil in it?
Well, it does not, but because I don't like cannabis, it makes me all depressed and paranoid. But they're making cannabis oil for these things.
Oh, that's nice.
This means you could vape it without all the particulate emissions and smoke and shit. Hey, there's my son. So,
I thought there was someone who had a son.
Huh?
I thought there was someone who had a son, but it's...
Say hi, Drake.
Hi.
Hey,
This is my friend Nocturnus.
Hi.
I'll call her a friend now, even though we don't agree on some things.
I got my tax.
You got your tax?
Yeah.
You got to pay the man the tax, don't you? You got to pay the tax to the Home Depot. You want to go to Home Depot later?
What time?
2 o'clock. I'm going to finish talking to my friend Nocturnus here, and then I'll come play with you, okay?
He's got a good head of hair.
Well, listen, if you have transport difficulties or whatever, hit me up when you hit Detroit. I don't know what some of these I don't care about protesters. I just hope these guys stop calling the VFW hall and giving them grief. They don't need that. All we're there to do is meet and talk. So, and I'm actually honored and pleased that an honorable opponent wishes to come and have dialogue. And I hope more like you agree to do that. Because that is the only way to come to any kind of solution on anything, I would think.
It actually is. I mean, I don't know what the issue is. I mean, it's chaos. I feel like it's mostly propaganda, and it's just.
Well, here's what I'll say. And this is, I think, where the MRA feminist fight comes from. I believe there are people, and I can name them, and I can point you, who are getting a lot of money to spout a party line under what they call feminism. And it is a lot of money. And when we criticize feminism, that is almost invariably the true feminism, the feminism we are truly criticizing. When you get down to individual issues, I think you'd be shocked how many MRAs don't actually disagree on solutions. Even if they don't even necessarily believe in causes, you'd be surprised how much overlap there is on solutions, especially once people get over anger. Just my thought.
They created. I mean, feminism wasn't really a big issue because the men's rights group is actually, people think it's this new thing that started up out of like reaction to feminism, but it actually existed since I think 1912. And their primary goal was it was like the poor man's movement, and it was like focused around getting so much as the power from these guys and then giving it to these guys.
Actually, people don't know it, but Charlie Chaplin, the silent film comedian, was involved in a group like that. Yeah, back in, I think, the 1920s or the 1930s. I think a lot of the frustration in the men's rights community with feminism comes from arguing, and I think some of that arguing should be more directed at the ones with actual power. Rather than sniping at each other. That's just what I think. Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
What?
If I'd be spreading in the sun, I just have sunscreen. I don't want to be sunburned.
That's right. Do you have sunscreen?
Yes.
Because you're so white, we have to use sunglasses just to look at you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, go get some, okay? Give me a kiss. I'll come up in a few minutes, all right?
It was in the car, but I just saw the fire department.
You just saw the fire department?
Yeah.
Okay, I will be up in 5 minutes, okay? I'm probably going to have to edit him out. I don't need people giving him shit. But I may not.
That's cool. I mean, he's just a kid. I would hope that no one.
What's that?
I mean, he's just a kid, so I would hope that no one would give him shit.
Yeah, well, he's been in the paper, and yeah, I don't think so. What really got me about some of these protesters is they just wouldn't talk to us. They just wouldn't talk to us. I was like, man, we can disagree, but you won't even talk? You won't even talk? That's crazy. That's
No,
crazy.
it's because of that's why we can't find solutions, is because we are taught not to find solutions, especially in Western education. You're not taught to think for yourself. You're taught to basically obey. You are taught obedience. You're not taught critical thought or any type of.
I think I know what you're talking about. I mean, I support public education, but I remember more than once just having teachers tell me this is so because it says so. And I don't take kindly to that kind of thinking. Or this is so because we say it is so. And I even had kids, our teachers tell me that something I was reading on my own was too advanced for me. I'm like, too advanced for me? Really? I didn't say it out loud. I should have at the time. I was too scared as a kid. I should have just said, fuck you. I can read, I can think for myself. And we are. We see it now. Ideological doctrine. We are supposed to accept that this is true, and we are not supposed to think for ourselves. And I actually do agree with you that there is a ruling class, consciously or unconsciously, exploits that. We can disagree whether it's capitalists or government or whatever. They know how to manipulate people's emotions and stop them from talking to each other.
And that's another thing that goes a whole lot into what's left of activism now. The arguments are generally created to appeal to the feelings because they know it'll be more effective than just saying other facts. Because again, no one cares about them. And today, Jesus Christ, I can't talk right now. I'm just a bit on edge. But in today's time, you don't see much of people looking for the facts or looking to appeal to as many people as possible. That's why you don't have a lot of legitimate news sources anymore. You don't, even the local news, you can't trust them because they can get bought out by any.
They can be bought out, and they're all about the ratings, right? At 10 o'clock, the stunning medical news that may save your entire family's life. But first, puppies. How does anybody put up with that shit, man?
I don't even watch television anymore. I'm stupid.
It lowers your IQ. It lowers your IQ. Well, let's do more of this, and I hope we can do some hanging out and not just, not just argue or whatever. I don't even think we're going to argue that much, but not just be protesting and counter-protesting. I'm looking forward to meeting you in Detroit, and maybe we can do this again before this is all over. Oh! Do I need to edit her out, or is that all right?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
You edit her out?
When sometimes, that's why I need to get my own place where my laptop will die, so I can just sit in the corner. Because when I have people visit sometimes when I have roommates, and I don't want them to get caught up in all my stuff because I got a lot of enemies, and then there's a neo-Nazi dude I told you guys about. It's crazy. It gets crazy.
I tell you what, I'm going to edit a whole chunk of this out. I'll get to it a little bit later today. I'll get her out of there. I'll probably go ahead and I'm just going to do a little thing to close up. All right. Well, anyway, we've had some fun talking with Nocturnus Libertus, a worthy adversary, I think, and we may wind up, by the time Detroit is over, finding more areas of common ground than anybody would think possible. Thanks for honoring us with your presence, Nocturnus.
Not a problem.
Have a good one.
I argue with my friends often, but I don't think arguing is a bad thing. It's been made to seem like a bad thing, but I think it's actually good. It's how people learn things. It's how I learn. Because when I go to the internet, I look for arguments. I don't provoke people with ignorant comments and then comments.
You're wrong. Shut up! You're wrong! No, you're absolutely wrong.